The idea for Flunked came to me while I was waiting in line at a grocery store. I saw someone wearing a backpack and thought a flunky would love to wear a backpack of himself. I quickly sketched out the short story on my phone. Since this would be a solo project, it was not necessary for me to write a detailed script or storyboard. I only needed a story outline to look back to. Most of the animations and rendering was going to be done in the Panda 3D game engine. Browsing through the Toontown game files, you can find the models, images, and animations were separated for game optimization. This meant I had to piece together everything for video use. I wrote Python scripts to set up the scenes with models, textures, and animations. The basic concept of the code was to load a model, attach it to another model if necessary, set textures and colors if needed, set the position, rotation, and scale, and finally playback animations. For example, the cat toon was created in the scene by loading in the legs file, hiding the shoe models, loading the torso file and parenting it to the legs joint, loading in the head file and hiding the face models I didn't need and parenting it to the torso joint. Then each of the model colors were set. The shirt, sleeves, and skirt image textures were changed. The skirt color was also set. Then the Flunky backpack file was loaded, rotated, scaled, parented, and positioned to the toon model. Finally, specific animations were set to play for each body part, the legs, torso, and head. The scene models were set up the same way with some trial and error and writing custom classes. I loaded only what I needed to get the video shots done. 3 of the buildings in the video were named as references to my other work. The Lil Old Man Haters Club and Wild Ducks Party Club buildings were references to a pair of images I had created. And Cowboy Cult's Doodle Writing Lessons was a reference to my doodle writing video. The toon was controlled with keyboard bindings so that I could move her forward, backwards, and rotate left or right with key presses in real time. This allowed me to give her a better natural path of motion. In the scene where she runs away scared, I played 2 different animations at the same time. Her legs were set to play the run animation while her torso was set to play the melt animation. Only a specific range of keyframes were used from the melt animation and it was played forwards, then backwards, and then started the loop again. To get the cogs to look at the toon, I used an update function to rotate each cog's body and head individually to point towards the toon. The same techniques were used to animate the cogs in the dream scene. The cogs were set to play only a specific set of frames from the effort animation at different speeds and repeat it. The Mingler was set to play the flailing animation for her scream shot. Her excited scream is one of my favorite moments. Some of the animation sequences were scripted to play only after I pressed a key on my keyboard. This gave me time to set up my camera positions and recording software to start. In this scene, the cogs loop through the laugh animation until I press the play key I set up. Once pressed, all of the cogs except the Flunky change their animation to turn around and walk away. The Flunky's animation changes to stare down at the backpack. The same method was used in this scene. The Flunky loops through his cool walk animation in the same position until I press the play key. Once pressed, His position moves to the end of the line based on a time frame I set. As soon as he reaches the ending position, his position no longer changes and the cog song and dance animation begins to play. To get the video framing shots that I wanted, I used two different methods to control the camera. The first was to use the built-in Panda 3D engine mouse controls. It gave me basic controls to move and rotate the camera as well as zoom in and out. It was perfectly fine to get the job done for some of the shots, but the movement was not perfectly smooth. The second method was to write my own code to control the camera. This method allowed me to tilt and pan the camera smoothly, have the camera track characters, attach the camera to characters and rotate around them. This method really helped with the dynamic shots. Since there wasn't a smiling flunky head texture image in the game files, I had to edit the original for use. My process began with painting over, smearing, and spot healing the mouth area to remove the frown. Then I painted a smile and saved the image to be used in the game engine. For this video demonstration, I painted an open mouth facial expression. Any texture image could be modified to get a different result for a 3D model. Once the scenes were ready, it was time to start recording shots. I ran my Python scripts in the Panda 3D game engine, set up the camera, and recorded the animations using MSI Afterburner. I recorded each shot with various camera angles, animation settings, and timings. Some of the shots took a few attempts to get just right. It was fun messing around with the shots to see what would look best. What I ended up with was a whole lot of recorded footage to browse through. I watched the clips and picked the best ones to use. The others were deleted. When I first started the project, I knew some of the shots would be easier to create outside of the Panda 3D game engine. For those shots I used the Blender 3D software. To show the tune's laugh points and gags, I played a recorded video of the tune on a 2D plane and then animated the movements of 2D images with transparent backgrounds over it. The camera was used to zoom in and capture the shot. The same technique was used to show the cog levels, Flunky's thought bubble, and Flunky picking up the backpack. These shots would have taken too much time and effort to create in the game engine or video editing software. This traditional 2D animation technique was easy to set up and animate in Blender. It also provided great results. With all of the video shots recorded, it was time to put it all together with video and audio editing software. I placed the video shots in sequence using layers in the Corel Video Studio software and made adjustments. Some shots were cut short in length and others were left out entirely for the final cut. I made editing decisions based on the idea of keeping the length of shots to a minimum, only to tell the story and mood at that moment. Extending video shots just because I had the recording saved would have ruined the flow of the story. Adding music and sound effects from the game files and those that I found online was also part of this final process. I used the Audacity software to edit audio files. To get the cog laughter sound effects, I modified normal laughing sound effects found online into robotic-style voices. The final result from production was the short story video I posted online. I wanted to show a young, new toon walking along happily to get her task done. Showing a close shot of the Flunky backpack as a hint to its importance to her and the story. I was careful to keep the cogs out of the shots until the last moment and picked angles so that the audience knows she's in danger before she does. By showing the cog and toon information, we know she's not ready for this battle. A quick pause helps convey a thinking moment on what to do next. With her screaming animation, voice, and camera movement, I hope to get the audience to focus on her reaction and not realize she left behind her backpack. The next shots were also purposely set up to hide the Flunky and backpack until the reveal moment. The Flunky is frozen, staring at the backpack. He's never seen anything like it before. He believes his dream of becoming the most popular and cool cog is attainable with this backpack. No other cog has toons crafting merchandise based on them. This was the perfect opportunity to showcase the unused cog swag walk and dance animations. It was important to reveal the Flunky's life-changing moment and end in an uplifting mood. I was happy to see my vision come to life. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned-tastic.